In what will be remembered as one of the most poignant milestones in the history of Japanese aerospace, the Japan Aerospace Exploration Agency (JAXA) and Mitsubishi Heavy Industries (MHI) successfully carried out the 50th and final launch of their long-serving H-2A rocket on June 28, 2025. The mission, which lifted off from the Yoshinobu Launch Complex at Tanegashima Space Center at 11:06 a.m. Japan Standard Time, marked the culmination of over 2 decades of near-flawless service by the H-2A launch vehicle, an icon of Japanese spaceflight. The rocket's final mission, codenamed H-2A F50, carried with it the GOSAT-GW satellite, an advanced climate monitoring spacecraft designed to deliver critical data on greenhouse gases and the global water cycle. As the final plumes of exhaust drifted skyward over the Pacific, the launch symbolized not only technological achievement but national pride, scientific dedication, and the end of an era in Japan's space history. The launch was smooth and picture-perfect. Under bright skies and ideal weather conditions, the rocket's LE-7A main engine and 2 solid rocket boosters ignited precisely on schedule, generating a thrust of nearly 1,000 kilonewtons. Within minutes, the vehicle had passed through maximum dynamic pressure, stage separation, and ignition of its second stage engine. By the 16-minute mark, the GOSAT-GW satellite had successfully separated and was confirmed to be in its targeted sun-synchronous orbit approximately 666 kilometers above Earth. Telemetry from both the rocket and the satellite confirmed nominal operations throughout all phases of the launch, prompting cheers and quiet tears from the mission team watching from Tanegashima's control room. For those involved in the H-2A's design, operation, and launches, this moment was charged with emotion. Engineers and technicians, many of whom had been with the program since its inception, gathered to witness the final countdown, reflecting on a rocket that had launched national dreams, scientific missions, and commercial payloads for over 2 decades. "It's like saying goodbye to a close friend," said one JAXA engineer who had worked on the rocket since its early test firings in the late 1990s. "You know it's time, but that doesn't make it easy." The H-2A's journey began in 2001, born out of Japan's need for a more efficient, cost-effective, and internationally competitive launch vehicle. It replaced the H-2 rocket, which had suffered from cost overruns and technical problems. In contrast, the H-2A would go on to prove itself as a paragon of reliability. Across 50 launches, it suffered only one partial failure, Flight 6 in 2003, when the second stage engine failed to ignite, resulting in the loss of a reconnaissance satellite. From that low point, the H-2A rebounded strongly, completing 44 consecutive successful launches from 2005 to 2025, a track record that placed it in the upper echelon of global launch vehicles, rivaling even the United States Atlas V and SpaceX's Falcon 9 in terms of consistency. Over the years, the H-2A became the launch platform for many of Japan's most ambitious space missions. It launched the Akatsuki spacecraft to Venus in 2010, the Hayabusa 2 asteroid sample return mission in 2014, the Himawari weather satellite series, Ibuki GOSAT Earth observation satellites, and a range of military and commercial payloads. It also demonstrated Japan's capacity to contribute meaningfully to global science and technology partnerships, including missions launched on behalf of foreign space agencies and companies. In 2018, the rocket carried KhalifaSat, the first Emirati-designed satellite, demonstrating Japan's growing footprint in the international launch market. The GOSAT-GW payload aboard the final mission was a fitting tribute to the H-2A's legacy. Short for Greenhouse Gases Observing Satellite, Greenhouse Gases and Water Cycle, GOSAT-GW was developed jointly by JAXA, Japan's Ministry of the Environment, and the National Institute for Environmental Studies, NICE. It continues the mission begun by GOSAT, launched in 2009, and GOSAT-2, launched in 2018, both of which made major contributions to the global understanding of greenhouse gas emissions, climate change patterns, and environmental degradation. GOSAT-GW includes 2 sophisticated instruments, TANSO-3, which measures greenhouse gases with improved sensitivity and spatial resolution, and AMSR-3, a microwave radiometer that monitors atmospheric moisture, sea surface temperatures, and precipitation. These instruments are designed not only to continue Japan's contribution to climate science but also to support global efforts in meeting environmental targets such as the Paris Agreement. By delivering high-resolution atmospheric data, GOSAT-GW will enable scientists to better understand the sources and sinks of carbon dioxide and methane, identify emission hotspots, and assess the effectiveness of emission reduction policies. It will also play a role in climate disaster preparedness, feeding its data into meteorological models to improve long-term forecasts and disaster response. The rocket that carried this high-stakes mission into orbit, meanwhile, was nearing its symbolic sunset. The decision to retire the H-2A was made as part of JAXA's broader modernization strategy. As space becomes more commercialized, Japan faces increasing competition from newer and cheaper launch providers in the US, China, and Europe. The H-2A, though reliable, was relatively expensive and inflexible due to its semi-customized configurations. To address these limitations, JAXA and MHI developed the H-3 rocket, a next-generation vehicle designed to cut costs by 50% while increasing payload capacity and flight cadence. The H-3 experienced delays after a failed debut attempt in 2023, but successfully launched in early 2024, restoring confidence in Japan's launch infrastructure. With multiple H-3 missions now in the pipeline, including deep space missions and commercial payload contracts, Japan appears ready to close the H-2A chapter and focus on a new era of lower-cost, higher-volume space operations. The final H-2A mission served as a graceful and dignified handoff to this new system. Yet, no matter how advanced the H-3 becomes, the legacy of the H-2A will remain unmatched for many years. It symbolizes a golden era for Japanese spaceflight, a time of scientific breakthroughs, national milestones, and growing international stature. Beyond its technical reliability, the rocket inspired generations of students, engineers, and enthusiasts. It featured prominently in Japanese documentaries, educational programs, and even pop culture, often portrayed as a symbol of precision and quiet excellence. In Japanese tradition, endings are treated with reverence, as part of a cycle that values continuity and remembrance. The final flight of the H-2A embodied this philosophy. As the rocket soared into the sky for the last time, it was not just a machine retiring, it was a moment of collective national memory, a tribute to human endeavor, and a promise to carry its lessons into the future. Now, with GOSAT-GW beginning its orbital mission and the H-3 rocket poised for its next launches, Japan's focus turns forward. But high above Earth, a silent witness to our planet's fragile balance now orbits, forever tied to the rocket that gave it flight. The H-2A's flame has gone out, but its legacy will burn brightly in the data it helped deliver, the missions it made possible, and the future it helped shape. Japan has bid farewell to one of its proudest engineering accomplishments. And in doing so, it has opened a new chapter, not of goodbye but of gratitude and renewed vision for what lies beyond the atmosphere.